eyes, scanning the black, tracking the heat, never turning back. Control 22, a covert gaze. Control 33, in the cosmic maze. Controls in the mix, secrets untold. Silent watchers, brave and bold. In the shadows, they silently glide, protecting our interests, far and wide. As fears, sentinel of the night, watching over with infrared sight, alerting us to threats afar, guiding our defenses like a guiding star. In the silence of space, they keep their post, shields unseen yet feared the most. With precision and speed, they warn of danger, keeping us safe from the missile's anger. As beers, sentinel of the night, watching over with infrared sight, alerting us to threats afar, guiding our defenses like a guiding star. Controls in the mix, secrets untold, silent watchers, brave and bold. In the shadows, they silently glide, protecting our interests, far and wide. As fears, sentinel of the night, watching over with infrared sight, alerting us to threats afar, guiding our defenses like a guiding star. As fears, sentinel of the night, watching over with infrared sight, alerting us to threats afar, guiding our defenses like a guiding star.
Hey everybody, how's it going tonight? Welcome to the stream. This is Ashton's Technology Tonight Overunity announcement night, guys. Hope you guys are excited. At least as excited as I am here. So yeah, first of all, I want to say hi to everybody. We're waiting for the sun to go down right now before we get too into this. Because I'm probably going to clip some of this segment and get it up on Twitter as well for you guys. I know a lot of you guys are super excited. I know I am really excited about this. So thank you everybody for being here. I see everybody in the chat early on. It's amazing, first of all, to think, I'm going to move this up just a little bit. This is bothering me. There we go. Let's go like that height. It's amazing to think how far we've come related to this investigation, related to MH370X. We used to have like small streams that had like 100 people watching or less. And now like we get up to like in the hundreds, especially if you add up Twitter and or X and YouTube. And it's just been wild, guys. It's been completely crazy. So I mean, I'm just so happy to have been here and been on this journey with you guys. Let me fix my mic there. Okay. Let's make sure we're looking good. We're looking nice. I got my nice pink shirt on today. Rocking it. Okay. So what are we going to do tonight? Mainly tonight is going to be to go over the Overunity announcement related to the company that I've started with the entity that I signed the NDA with. They will be announced at some point in the future. I think that'll be pretty exciting as well. And then to go over how people can submit requests and inquiries and what the questions are going to be so that there's pretty much as much transparency as we can get related to this. So first thing I want to say, oh, somebody got suspended on Twitter. That sucks. Well, welcome. Be careful what you say on Twitter, guys. You know, they can be a little bit touchy out there still, guys. Have you been working out? You look good today. Whoa, you've noticed. Just kidding. Yes, shut up and take my money, these people say. Yeah, so first of all, I believe absolutely the MH370 videos are real. I believe absolutely Overunity is real beyond any doubt. And the Overunity, you know, free energy. First, let's hit the topics on free energy, because free energy doesn't mean that it's just all free that's out there. The reason why I decided to sign the NDA with the entity I did is A, I trust that entity, and B, their device is probably cheaper than like anybody else's that's out there. What I want to say to you guys right off the bat is that there was somebody else. Did I save their post? Let me see if I have it, because if so, I want to look at it. But basically, they're trying to go the open source route. And what you guys are going to find is that they're going to fail. You know, a lot of people say, oh, you have to open source it. It's the only way it works. Actually, there's no chance of that working. But I totally encourage people that think that will work to go ahead and try it out. Because who knows? Maybe you'll get lucky. Oh, yeah, here it is right here. Okay. Why does the bookmarks not work, man? Like, you click on the bookmarks and it doesn't load their stuff up. So I want to show you. So if you're interested in the like open source route, I'm going to show you guys an example of somebody that's supposedly going open source with this information, so you guys can see what this situation is. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So this is going to be a little bit of warm up before we get to the announcement, guys, because I'm waiting for the sun to go down right now, although it's almost down now, and then we'll get going on this. I don't want to be up all night here. So Patrick Riley here. This person came into my replies pretty recently, and they said they've got this quantum summit going on. And this quantum summit here, they say, I'm releasing this technology and I'm in immediate danger to my life. This technology includes Overunity generator, proven physics, ionic drive circuit, quantum helisphere. I don't know what that means. And faster than light. And they're presenting this at the Quantum Summit on June 8th, which is, I guess, in 2 days from now. And they said they're releasing all the designs. So for you guys, like a lot of you are saying, hey, open source it, put it on the blockchain. Well, that's what this person did. They're putting them on all the blockchains. So I want to say that I absolutely support people doing this. I have no problem. But then this is a little bit over the top, right? Like, I've been disclosing some of the craziest, most potentially world-changing, dangerous stuff. But you don't really see posts like this where it's all extra dramatic. And it says, whether I live or die is largely dependent upon people sharing these designs to ensure that it's too late to suppress them. I have multiple dead drops with additional disruptive to the current world order technologies that I will release in the event of my death. Please view, download, and share and remint these designs as your pleasure. If just 100 people remint these, the idea will be unkillable. They're intentionally unpatented and open source. Build them as you please. Be good people in the application of this technology. So there you go. If you are, yeah, it's a little bit over dramatic to me. And then there's these like whatever links here. So I'm going to put this in the chat if you're interested. They linked a bunch of people here. I think what you're going to find is that this will not work. A lot of people think that, oh, we'll just open source it. And this is the answer. This person's open sourcing it. So let's find out if it works. You guys can go in there and check it out, see if it works, see if the open sourcing it works out. And here's the best part. People are like, well, it sounds like a scam. Well, how do you know the difference? How do you know the difference? At the end of the day, the only way to prove that it works is to prove that it works. That's it. And that's the reason why I'm not open sourcing it. That's the reason why I went with the entity that I did, because at the end of the day, you just need a device that works. That's all that really matters. Sorry, I'm going to raise this just a little bit more. I'm a little too low to the ground. There we go. Okay. And so if you can prove that it works, then so what about, you know, open sourcing it or all this other stuff that's out there? So if you want, go check that person out. You know, you can go that route with it, what have you. That link no longer works. I don't know, man. You guys can talk to him about it. I'm not officially endorsing him. I just wanted to show you guys there are people that are doing it other ways, and you're free to follow and support those ways if you want. Now, before we get started on this, and we're about to do the announcement here, I'm not making anybody do anything that they don't want to do, and I am not going to sign any contracts with anybody regarding these devices, I mean consumers, until I've seen the device in person and had an opportunity to do a recording on it that I can post on social media. Okay. So that means that even if you guys inquire, and I'm going to give you guys a way to inquire here in a minute, there won't be anything signed until you've seen the proof online. Now, the proof that we post online is not going to be able to show the device exactly, because showing the device potentially can give away how it works. But it will be something similar to like the Floyd Sweet Thomas Bearden situation, where they had like a box and then you've got stuff running off of it. And I don't know, we're trying to figure out a way where we can like make it convincing so that, you know, there's the minimum number of scrutiny that's out there. Also, everything that anyone buys will be fully guaranteed. So if you end up buying one of these products, then, or, you know, you're selected to buy one of these products from this beginning phase, you know, the money, it would be absolutely guaranteed that it's going to operate and produce over Unity, as we pointed out. So let's dig into it, and then I'll let you guys ask some questions. So if you have some burning questions, go ahead and hang on to them until I get through the stuff that I'm going to say here. It shouldn't take more than a few minutes. And then you guys can ask whatever questions you want. I have a few, I think, common questions that people will ask already figured out. So chatted with the entity today, worked through all the stuff. Here we go. Okay, guys, welcome to the announcement. First of all, I want to start off with the name of the company that has been developed between myself and the entity that has been able to produce over 30 Overunity devices already. And the name of that company is, drumroll please, EtherTech. EtherTech is the name of the company. So the reason why EtherTech was chosen is because A, we're bringing the ether back. The ether is the idea of how Overunity device can be produced and how it can produce essentially energy from the ether itself. And this is consistent with the laws of thermodynamics, contrary to popular opinion. We have to simply reimagine the way that the laws of thermodynamics work. We have to open our system up. And by opening our system up to the ether, we can extract additional energy. So EtherTech is the name of the company. So get used to saying that. Now, how to inquire about an Overunity device. So EtherTech will be technically a energy consulting company. And we will be able to produce Overunity devices. They can be produced to spec, but I imagine that most people will want something in the mid-range that can power their houses. Now, the first rollout is going to be a alpha rollout. And the alpha rollout of EtherTech will be, first of all, people can send their inquiries in, and then we'll be vetting those inquiries based on certain criteria. The first thing I want to say is that we reserve the right to accept or decline any contracts that we want. So just because you put in a request doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be selected. We just need to say that as a disclaimer right off the bat. Now, what are the questions going to be for that you're going to be asked? So you can either write these down right now, or you can wait. I will post these on Twitter later on. I just want to make everything 100% transparent in terms of the questions that we're going to ask you guys. First, your name, your real name, your age, your occupation and business, if you have a business, how much power you want your device to be able to generate. So this is very important with respect to the size of the device that would be necessary, because once again, these can be built to spec. So if whether or not you want it to just be like a backup generator, if you want it to be able to power your whole house, if you have a small house, so you need to ideally have some idea of how much power you need to generate per day in terms of kilowatt hours. Just in case you're curious, the average American household uses 25 to 30 kilowatt hours per day. I also want to point out here as well that these devices can be hooked up to like your breaker, for example. You may need an extra electrician to help set that up, and then it can feed excess power back into the grid. So it can work very similar to how solar panels work right now. So it's not a situation where you have to have the, you have to use just the power that's in the device. You could actually still extract energy from the grid if there was like a gap. And then potentially if you're producing more energy than you use, then it can go back into the system. We also are going to ask what your budget is for the device. Okay, so this is an important question to understand if you're even a candidate. I have said that for a device that would potentially be able to power the average home entirely, 25 to 30 kilowatt hours per day, it can be, and again, this isn't going to be something you can hold me to here, but potentially around $50,000, upwards of around $50,000 potentially for this kind of device. Now, I want to again point out that part of the reason why I've selected this manufacturer, this entity, is that That seems like a lot, but some of these devices that people build that are out there are significantly more expensive and complicated than this particular device. And I think that's one of the reasons why Overunity has been held back. Now, if you need less power than that, it could potentially be cheaper. If you need more, it could be a lot more expensive. And the goal is over time to be able to bring those prices down as the market develops, as it becomes more efficient, as there becomes economies to scale to it. So the alpha wave is essentially the early adopter wave for people. And I understand that will price a lot of people out. But for right now, it is what it is. Now, the exact price will be determined based on all the answers to the questions and what you're kind of looking for with respect to an Overunity device. The next question is, what area of North America do you reside? So this will only be available to people who are in the continental United States, Canada, and maybe Mexico. But the idea is North America for the beginning. So if you are somebody that is living overseas for right now, you will be excluded. In the future. That can potentially change, just for a number of different various reasons that are out there. The next thing, of course, is going to be your phone number so that we can get in touch with you. So we're going to be vetting all these people. We're going to probably want to get in touch with you, make sure that your information is legit. I expect to get a lot of kind of scam calls and things like that out there. So phone number will be the next one. The next question is if you're willing to put down a 40% deposit. So the way this will work is that the 40% deposit, up to 40% deposit, it might be a little bit less. We haven't exactly figured that out, but we'll be able to cover the raw materials required to put the device together. This will be a fully refundable deposit. So if for whatever reason you aren't interested, then you would be able to get that money back. And then we would just move to the next person. So the way it'll work is we will pick out a select number of people. We haven't exactly decided the total number just yet. Depends on how many devices can be produced at once. And then there will be a waiting list for other people as well. So I'll roll over to the next. And the next question then is, are you requesting proof of functionality? And when I say requesting proof of functionality, I mean, if you are requiring to actually see the device in person. So I have already set up a demo model with the entity. And the whole point of the demo model, they and I went in together to pay to have one particular device set up that people can come in and see for themselves. This will be the same one that I will go and take the videos of as well. So if that's the kind of thing you want that level of assurance, that's something that we can potentially work out as well. So we want to know if you are requesting proof of functionality, or some people are willing to just YOLO it. I mean, we have said that the device 100% works and will produce Overunity. Now, the next thing is, what are your intentions for the device? So there's a number of questions related to your intentions for the device that will determine whether or not we think you're a candidate. Is the device for business or for residential purposes? That's the first question. Are you planning on using the device on or off the grid? Now, on or off the grid really kind of depends on whether you're trying to hook it up to the grid or not. And none of these questions are necessarily deal breakers, but altogether it will help us get a good idea of the candidacy for each individual and whether or not we want to talk to you more about making it happen. The next question then is, are you planning on sharing the device with any other people, communities, etc.? So, like Wi-Fi back in the day, for example, people would share the device. We want to know whether or not you're planning on sharing it, who you'd be wanting to share it with. The next question is whether or not you are planning on using it for research or educational purposes. So if you are, let's say, like a university and you want to research the device, stuff like that, or any type of reverse engineering whatsoever, we want to know about that as well. So we want that up front as well. Don't want there to be any surprises about it. Many of these questions are also for protecting intellectual property related to this device. Then the last question is, do you have any conflicts of interest with other businesses or entities? So this question really has to do with whether or not you're in the energy business or anything else like that. So this is more of a liability question to make sure that people are coming at this with good faith. And then Like I said before, once again, we reserve the right to accept or decline any certain contracts. The location where you can sign up, if you want to inquire, is ethertechllc@gmail.com. ethertechllc@gmail.com. Ether is spelled AETHERTECHERLLC@gmail.com. So you can actually begin now if you want. Those are the questions. I will post them on my Twitter account later on so that you can see for yourself. Now, a few other questions, and then I'll address questions in the chat. There's been some commonly asked questions around the device. And once again, I'm trying to give you as much maximum transparency as possible here. People ask what the nature of the device is. So, and here I will go ahead and link this. There's the EtherTech Gmail account right there. You can start to send those inquiries. Once again, I'm just going to repeat this again, is that there will be no contract signed until after I've seen the device in person and taken video that I've been able to post onto Twitter, onto social media, on my YouTube page that shows that the device actually does produce energy without being plugged in. Okay, no tricks. The next thing is the device is electromechanical. Okay, so the device is electromechanical. And yes, there are moving parts with the device. So a lot of people ask that, are there moving parts? What's the nature of the device? It is electromechanical. And yes, there are moving parts with respect to the device. Maintenance. A lot of people ask about maintenance. So far, after 30 devices, there's been no maintenance issues with a single device. The oldest device has been in use for nearly 3 years. 3 years. There would be no tinkering with the device, or the warranty related to it will be voided. The entity that can produce the device is so confident in the reliability of the device that they are willing to maintain it at no additional cost to you whatsoever. We haven't worked out the exact number of years. That would be part of the contract that we would sign with the entity. But once again, tinkering with the device would completely void that. I just want to make sure that that's clear. And that's pretty much it for what I had listed out there for the common questions. So once again, if you do not answer all the questions that I just listed, then you will, your email will be ignored. Simple as that. And please don't be offended if your email does not get a response. I'm sure we'll get quite a lot of emails, probably a lot of troll email, things like that. So we'll only be responding to people that we think are credible and that we have, that we're going to vet as well. Okay. So let's go ahead. Questions about personal danger, potential dangers about usage. I've seen the device and I know how it works. And I asked about this, and the people that are manufactured, there's been no personal issues around it. You're not going to get cancer from it or anything like that. Even though this is an Overunity device, the amount of energy these things are producing is not enough that it's going to like warp space-time around your house. Okay, so your house isn't going to fly to the Andromeda Galaxy. You're not going to get some kind of weird sickness from being around it. Although I am a little bit worried that people are going to be like hypochondriac and like think that the device gave them some weird thing. So there probably will be some language in the contract that says you can't blame your like sicknesses on the device and things like that. But what I can say is that people out there, the manufacturers, etc., there's no, let's say, scientifically sound reason why you would get any type of sickness from it. But what I would say is that is something you're worried about in general, then, you put the device somewhere in your basement or somewhere like that. Like, I don't know, if that is something you're worried about. Okay. Okay. Ask whatever questions that you guys want on there. How do you hook it up? Well, that can be part of the deal as well, to potentially hook it up, but you would hook it up the same way that people hook up solar panels. So if you want to hook it up to the grid, if you're on the grid, otherwise I think you hook it up to your circuit breaker. I'm not an electrician. Otherwise you may need an electrician as well. I may do a form as well, but for tonight, I'm just going to post on my Twitter account. So I wanted to have people be able to already solicit solicit requests that are out there. I potentially will do a form, like a Google Doc form, and then you can copy and paste it. Actually, that's probably what I'll do, and then I'll post that on my Twitter account so that you guys can grab that, copy and paste it, put it in your email, and send me an email. I asked, we're not going to have any comments whether or not on the patent question. So there's no comments on that for the time being. Let's see what else. What does the device do? Overunity. Overunity means it produces more power than it takes in, which means that it is essentially what people will call a free energy device. But overunity is the term that is more proper term for it. So it's a device that you potentially plug it in to turn it on. You unplug it, and then it'll just produce power for you. So that's what I'll be showing on video, and sometime in the next probably, let's call it 4 to 6 weeks. So sometime in the next 4 to 6 weeks, I will be there with the device. I'll take video with the device, showing it working, showing it producing energy without being plugged in. And then, that will be the part where we'll potentially start to sign contracts related to it. Okay. Is the company based in Dubai? No. Okay. Any other good questions? Are you including Alaska? I'll have to double check, but let's say yes. Alaska is within the continental United States. Yeah. Let's see. Gmail is not closing down in August, guys. That was fake news, by the way. How many do I need to warp space-time? Asking for a friend. Not sure. Okay, I'm only going to address serious questions for now. I've already explained in a high level how these devices work, but that's a good question. I will explain it once again. So Overunity devices are able to extract the latent energy of space-time itself. Space is not empty. That's why we call it the ether, space-time ether. And I believe there's a number of different configurations that can pull it off and different ways that it can be done. This way is electromechanical that it can do. There are moving parts in it as well. So once again, in order to understand how this is possible without defying the first and second laws of thermodynamics, the second law of thermodynamics would say you can't get more energy out than you would put in. Well, you open your system up. So wind plants open their system up to nature, the wind of nature. This system opens up to the ether, and the ether potentially has unlimited energy. That's how this is able to work. And this is also how it's able to theoretically defy the first law of thermodynamics, which would say energy cannot be created nor destroyed. Well, we're not creating or destroying energy. We're borrowing energy from the ether. The Casimir effect proves beyond any doubt that there is latent energy that's out there. If you were to take two plates, put them together, there's an attractive force. Well, that attractive force can be turned into work, energy. So the fact that that exists tells us that there is latent energy in space-time itself. So I'm not asking anybody to believe these concepts. The device will work, and you will be able to see it firsthand for yourself. Anybody that was also anybody that we select will be required to sign an NDA related to not disclosing how the device works, because obviously you'll be able to see how it works. So that's also important. I want to make sure that you guys understand that as well. We're not looking for people to go out there and immediately spill the beans on it. Presumably some people probably will, and this is a risk that the entity and myself are taking. But at the same time, open sourcing it is not going to work for people. I already know that they're going to get shut down. This is probably the only way that we'll actually be able to get real free energy out to the world. There may be contingencies as well in terms of ensuring that people can't tinker with the device, or that they can't expose the information as well. Maybe fail safes in place. So once again, no tinkering with the device. It will work though. Will it interfere with a pacemaker? Good question. I'll have to ask. I don't believe so, no. But I will have to ask on that. Is it EMP proof? Honestly, those are pretty good questions. My guess is that it is EMP proof, but I'm going to double check on that. Good question. Thank you for asking those. So any questions, we'll get it out there. When will we get to see this? You're never going to be able to see the device, but you will potentially get to see that it produces Overunity. So that's a fair question. This is not a device that's going to be open sourced. This is one that's intellectual property. So that's the route that I've chosen to go down it. Whether or not people agree or disagree, I don't really care. That's my decision and the decision of the person who's developed the device. Do you need energy to feed into it? So the whole point of Overunity is that you don't, but to get it started, you do. So just to get it going, you do, and then it'll run for years. So like I said before, the oldest device that has been purchased or produced by this entity is already essentially been running for about 3 years. 3 years. So once you get it going, the whole point is that it produces more energy than it puts in, and it can feed the energy back into the system, and then it can keep running forever. So what are the benefits? The benefits are energy independence. You have disaster recovery for any type of the grid going down. You have green energy, and your power bill can potentially be lowered as well significantly. Now, I'm not saying that necessarily I'm not giving you a cost benefit. That's for you to figure out in terms of how much your power bill costs per kilowatt hour, et cetera. Just simply telling you this is a device that will produce energy, just sitting there. I do not hold the intellectual property. The entity does, but I am in business with them. They are a partner in the business that I started in EtherTech. Good question. Let's see. I've already addressed it's not a matter of cost of building them. It's a matter of what the price range would be. And that will be determined based on how much energy somebody is trying to get out on it. So have I invested money in it? I have invested money in the demo model that we will be showing to people to prove that it is real. That's something that I have been working on behind the scenes for a while. Let's see what other questions we got out there. Will there be an NDA agreement? Yes, there will be an NDA agreement related to it. The NDA agreement will be to not disclose how it works to anybody, not putting it on the internet. It'll also be for making sure that you would not hold us liable for any misuse of the device or anything like that as well, which I think is pretty standard for a lot of devices that are out there. So that is important to know as well. If that's a deal breaker for you, then you don't need to send your inquiry in. Let's see. What else we got? Is it noisy? Is that how people ask? No, not very noisy. No. It's going to be less noisy than a basically it'll either be silent, practically silent is what I would say with respect to noisiness. So but that's a good question as well. I will, when I do the video, we will be able to show you how noisy it is. Even if we cover it up, you'll be able to tell if it's noisy or not. So it's a good question though. Okay, so those are good questions. So there's not a fixed price for the initial rollout because the initial rollout will potentially, we haven't decided exactly, but most likely will be built to spec based on how much energy output people are trying to get. And this is why it's essentially an alpha rollout. And then after that, the idea would be like, do we build specific models that produce a certain amount of energy? So we're actually getting some information from this as well in terms of like what people's demand is for what they're trying to buy. And then maybe there's like an alpha model that or a beta model that we put out that's a specific configuration, that's a specific price tag on it. So once again, this is really for early adopters, people that are interested in the technology. And like I've said before, it is pretty cost prohibitive for a device that could produce 25 to 30 kilowatt hours per day. The price can be upwards of $50,000. So don't hold me to that exact price. It'll be determined based on all the answers to the questions and what you're trying to produce, but it is relatively expensive. It's not simple. Ratio of energy in to energy out. I don't have that question in front of you. So with respect to any ratio of energy in to energy out, that would be something that we will be able to prove when we show the device on video. We'll have all the measurement devices, electricity measurement devices that show the wattage in and out. And I've already talked to the entity in detail today about making sure that it is like 100% rock solid so that nobody can debunk it. So we'll show all the configuration in terms of like where the energy is coming in and out so that you can see that it's absolutely producing over Unity. But that's a good question. There will not be any investments at this point. So we're not necessarily looking for investment because the manufacturing has already been set up. The device configuration has already been proven. Devices have already been sold. So at this point, we're simply looking for people that are willing to put down deposits to be able to produce the device and get those devices out there so that people can see that they absolutely work. And therefore, people won't be able to debunk it because people will just literally be using them and will already have successful clients. To me, that's the way that you prove that an Overunity device works. And then after that, if it comes to a situation where we're going to scale up the business, because initially, I don't know the exact number of how many we can produce at once, but it's probably only going to be a few at a time. And then after that, if we try to scale it up, then that's a whole nother thing. That's when you start looking for investors and things like that. So when that time comes, I'll let you know. First plan alpha phase is to prove that it works to the world, to get enough clients that have bought them and purchased them and can advocate for them working that will convince people. Good question. I will try to find out, guys, about the decibels. I believe it's very little, but I will try to find out. That's a good question about the loudness of it. I should have asked on that. Size of the device is going to vary based on how much energy you're trying to get out of it. But I've been told to expect something that's about 3 feet by 3 feet. And then maybe like, I don't know, was that a foot tall or something like that? So it's about the size of a generator. About the size of a generator. Oops. Well, I just went down and missed a lot of the questions. So if I miss your question, please re-ask it. I want to make sure we can get it. I don't think that this will be able to be connected to a vehicle right now. But again, if you are tinkering or whatever, then that would void any type of warranty related to it. I imagine some people might try to do that. But the first device, this device is not meant to be used in a vehicle. No. And if you want to start doing, some configuration stuff like that, then you're on your own over it. There will be sales receipts. This is a legit business, so there will be receipts. There will be invoices. There will be potentially serial numbers tagged to the devices as well so that we can track each individual device. So I want to make sure that people aren't going to try to scam and, people do a lot of scammy shit out there. That's probably my biggest concern over anything. And once again, I'm trying to make sure that I'm giving you guys as much information as I can, given how it works. Is it fireproof? I don't know. I wouldn't think anything in this world is fireproof. So I'm not ready to say that it's fireproof. No, this isn't a situation where you're going to light it on fire. And if you do have a fire in your house, it probably will end up destroying the device. Yes. This can make indoor farming profitable. I don't know. I'm not really a farmer that's out there, but I do think that could be. People did point out like pot farming is legal in a lot of states now and uses a lot of light bulbs. So it would be pretty cool to have somebody who bought the device that's using it for those purposes that, could tell us how that works for that. Because maybe there is like some profitability that they can be made off of it from that. Not sure. It may be a little bit smaller than 3x3, but I'm kind of overestimating for you guys. It is, but yeah, it's reasonably sized. Like the table that I'm sitting at right now is about 2.5 feet wide. So maybe it's a little bit smaller around that size in general. But it's not huge. Somebody else linked me another Overunity device, and it was like the size of like 3 porta potties stacked side by side. I was like, thing's going to cost like $1 million to make. And it's some of those things are huge. So yeah, it makes a big difference. Okay, I'm going to repeat how to sign up one more time. So the company's name is EtherTech, and the email account. There's no website just yet at the moment. The email account is EtherTech, AetherTechLLC @gmail.com. That's where you can send your request. Once again, if you do not answer the questions, then your request will potentially be ignored. The main questions I will list off once again are your name, your age, your occupation and business, your phone number, how much power you want the device to generate, your budget for the device, what region of North America you reside in. Are you willing to put down a deposit up to 40% that would be refundable? Are you requesting proof of functionality, seeing the device in person? What are your intentions for the device? Is it for business or is it for residential? Do you plan to use the device on the grid or off the grid? Are you planning on sharing the device with any other people, communities, etc.? And are you using it for research or educational purposes? Do you have any conflicts of interest with any other businesses or entities? And then we reserve the right to accept or decline any contracts that we please for any reason that we want. I'm just going to make a note of that since I just kind of like fired that off real quick. That's probably where I'm going to clip it. Okay, cool. Okay. I don't think there's any smell. From what I saw, there's no reason to think that there's any smell related to it. No, but good question as well. Is it portable? I will say that its size is small enough that we can ship it anywhere in the continental United States via FedEx pretty easily. So it's quite portable, honestly. I also asked whether or not there would be any issue with earthquakes or vibrations, and the answer was no. It shouldn't get damaged by a simple earthquake or if you're jumping around in your house and there's some shaking in general. This is not a scam. So whether or not you believe it is or not, I really don't care. You will find out in the near future that your life is a lie and that Overunity is possible. So start adapting to your new reality is what I'm willing to tell you. And you know what? I'm willing to go so far in on this that if you believe that it's fake, go find your favorite electrical engineer. You know what? Get the corridor crew out there. Have the corridor crew come and try to debunk it. In fact, if you guys can find a large YouTuber like Vertasium or what was the other guy that's any of these electrical engineer people, if they're willing to sign an NDA, we will have them come out and check out the device for themselves. There you go. Challenge issued. So I am issuing a challenge related to Overunity. If you are somebody who is an electrical engineer who has a big YouTube channel or following, and you want to challenge the idea that Overunity is not possible, and you are willing to sign an NDA to not disclose exactly how the device works, we would be willing to show you the device under the condition that you would have to then, upon admitting that the device works, have to issue a statement on your social media, on your YouTube channel, that EtherTech company is legit and that the Overunity device does work. If you are interested in this, please send an email to ethertechllc@gmail.com. Thank you. I'm going to put that on there as well. That's good. So yeah, you can tell I'm not messing around, chat. This is not a joke. So we'll see. If it's stolen, that's on you guys. That's like if your property gets stolen, we're not responsible for your property getting stolen. So, don't, lock your stuff up in a safe location or whatever, right? I don't need help selling it. We don't need referral fees at this point. Again, we're on the alpha rollout stage. So this is a situation where, we're looking for a small number of people that want these devices, that can afford these devices, that are interested in being an early adopters in EtherTech, that will advocate for the device potentially and say that it works if they were asked. We're not explicitly asking you to be an advertiser for the device. So, you want to buy a device and just be private or whatever. Absolutely. And in fact, we prefer that. But if you are the type of person that does want to help convince people that the device works, like we do appreciate that. That's the point, is to get enough people that it can't be denied that it doesn't work. Can you electrocute yourself with it? Technically, you probably could because it's producing electricity. So yeah, don't go tinkering with it. Will it be durable? I mean, if you try to smash it on the ground, it's probably going to break. So don't do that as well. So once again, the fact that you guys are asking these questions already concerns me. This is the reason why there's going to be a thing in there that says if you tinker with it or mess with it or anything like that, it's on you. Okay, so don't do that. Orientation limits. Yeah, again, don't be messing with the device. Like once again, just don't mess with it. Don't flip it around. Don't throw it against the wall. Don't drop it on the ground. Don't do any of that stuff. Just let it do its thing. Teleportation device win. Yes, there will potentially be a warranty for the device. Yes. I don't know the exact duration, but that was one of the things that I mentioned. Right now, the oldest device that has been produced has been out there for almost 3 years, and none of the devices have had any type of warranty related issues related to any of the moving parts. But yeah, okay. Can it be tracked if off the grid where I don't live full time? Probably not. So if you want to go live off the grid and you want to have a power device, this is probably, you don't want to use gas or whatever. This is a good option. It's a good option. Would it be possible for it to be single phase or three phase? I don't really know. I'm not an electrical engineer. I'll write that down. Maybe I'll get the answers back. Okay, so I do have some questions that will ask, is it lightning proof? I mean, I don't know, man. Water's fireproof? Not, I mean, sort of. There's nothing related to tax breaks right now. So that's a good question, though, because I mean, I know solar panels got tax breaks in a lot of locations. So if this industry does work out, then you could imagine that there might be tax breaks in the future for it if we don't get completely shut down. Honestly, I have no idea how this is going to play out, or if the government's going to come shut it down, or whatever is going to happen. So you guys are along for the ride on this as well. This is probably the first time anybody's ever done over Unity and free energy in this way, where there's already a device that's out there. It's already been purchased by a number of people, and now we're basically just bringing it to the public and bringing public attention to it. Pretty wild, huh? I think we've already answered this question several times, but I'll answer it for a third time. How much would it cost to make it the power a single family home? The average single family home in America uses roughly 25 to 30 kilowatt hours per day. And I've been told that you could expect up to $50,000 for such a device, for that level of a device. Once again, device can be scaled up or down, depending on how much power need there is. So what you want to be thinking of is, how much do you want to be able to power? Now, what I want to tell you guys, I do know a little bit about electricity. Like, the things that use the most electricity in your house are your dryer, your refrigerator, and your air conditioner. Those things use a lot. Everything else uses almost nothing compared to that. Even your computer and stuff like that, your TV, uses relatively little. Light bulbs use almost nothing. The things like refrigerator, air conditioning, those types of things use not exponentially, magnitudes more energy than the other. So this is what you want to, before you inquire, you should probably figure out exactly how much power you want something like this to be able to produce. Okay. I don't care if people think that you're scamming them. There's literally nothing to address there. The device will work. And like I just said, I just issued a challenge. So if you are adamant that you think the device can't work, find your favorite YouTuber, find your favorite influencer that's out there. The bigger, the better. And I've issued the challenge. If they're willing to sign the NDA and it turns out that they're wrong and the device does produce over Unity, they simply have to issue a statement on their social media that the device does work, that EtherTech LLC is not a scam. So beyond that, I see no reason to address debunkers. Nobody's being forced to buy anything. There's no scam happening here whatsoever. Chance the device can malfunction, zero devices have malfunctioned. I'd say there's no chance that it can start on fire unless you were to tinker with it. But then again, anything that's electrical does have, some chance, but none of the 30 devices that have been produced have had any issue with maintenance or anything like that. It's also not a device that you would want outdoors in freezing weather. I've addressed this previously, but you want this probably indoors, somewhere where it's not going to get like extremely, extremely cold. Although it may still work in those conditions. We just probably have some stipulation for that in general. Let's see. Yeah, and these devices, you can imagine if you start scaling them up, you could actually like run entire data centers off of them and crypto mine. There's a lot of, I like how you guys are thinking, because as a business minded person, in the future, that's how I would be thinking about rolling them out to commercial businesses. Yeah, and somebody just asked inside or outside. I've already answered yes, there will be a warranty for the device that will potentially last for a few years. We don't know exactly what we're going to set that to at the moment. It probably will be something like 2 or 3 years, maybe up to 5 years. I don't really know yet. The device can produce, yeah. So you will be able to, the device can be produced where you can plug stuff into it directly. And in that situation, then you would use extension cords to move the stuff around. It will be able to produce AC current. So yeah, you will be able to plug like your computer, this computer into it. And that's what we will be proving when we show the demo model to people on video, is we'll be able to prove that you can plug stuff into it. It's going to, charge your phone, run other stuff, whatever. So, but alternatively, you can just hook it directly up to the grid, up to your house, the same way that people hook up solar panels. And then you can use that energy and grid energy. And then whatever, if you're net positive, then you can sell energy back to the energy company. So pretty cool. Good question here. Why does this company need me? Well, for one, they kind of don't. They're putting themselves at risk here, and their intellectual property at risk to help bring this to the world. They could just sit behind the scenes and continue to sell these devices behind the scenes and make a ton of money off of it. There is a risk. They understand the risk of revealing this information to the world, and that if you go about it the wrong way, the government will come shut you down or make you disappear. The reason why they find value in me is because look what I've been doing for the last 9 months. I've gained 140,000 followers disclosing Black project technology to the world. I was able to figure out that Overunity is real without anybody telling me, by just doing my own research related to it. So the reason why this entity appreciates me is that I'm an honest person that's put the pieces together myself, and that people trust when I've looked into something that I've, done my due diligence on it. And a lot of you have followed along with as well. And there is value in this idea of taking these complicated concepts and bringing them down to normal people level, like you or I. So that's the reason why the entity values me. They've told me that directly. And you can't really just go to Shark Tank with this and get trillions of dollars, because once again, Overunity does not mean free. As you can tell based on the price of these devices, they're extremely expensive. So the question somebody like Mark Cuban would have is, well, how am I going to roll this out? How much profit is somebody going to make off of this industry? And I think this is the biggest barrier to entry, is that if the device is extremely expensive, then it takes a while to pay it back. And this is why there's more than one benefit, is that you might not even make all your money back in the first few years from your electricity bill. So then what are the other benefits? Energy independence, ability to live off the grid, the fact that you have a disaster recovery plan in case the grid were to go out, and green energy, just because you want green energy as opposed to using fossil fuels. So there are more than one value system related to this product as well. And then ideally we can get the prices down to a point where it does get to like nearly free energy, or, becomes extremely advantageous that it replaces existing forms of power. This is the reason why free energy has not gone global, is that it's not free and it's getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. But we're still have a ways away from that point. Most devices that I've seen that I think might work are probably significantly more expensive than this device is. And that goes to show you that, yeah, it's going to take a while for those prices to come down to a point where it's not going to replace old power systems right away. But I do think it has the capability over the next 10 to 20 years to do significant damage to current ways that power is produced in the world. If I haven't answered your question, I've already answered the noisy question. I don't know. I'm going to follow on that. I've already answered the warranty stuff. Why would anybody? I just explained why you would buy the device. Yeah, if you pay $8 a month for electricity, then you probably either don't need very much power or you don't need an Overunity device. The package won't be seized in the mail. I certainly don't have any reason. It would be extremely illegal for your package to get seized in the mail. Is that even a thing? Is it even legal for the government to seize packages in the mail? I don't think so. This is a good question. Can you use the extra energy to sell it back to the public grid? That's something you would have to work out with your energy company. Presumably, if they let solar power do it, I see no reason why you couldn't do it with this as well. Though I'm pretty sure they screw you over with their prices, by the way. I don't think they're paying you a lot, but yes, theoretically you could. Yeah. Okay. Right now, no international buyers at the moment. Just to keep things simple. Also, I think the legal issues become a problem, especially with NDAs and things like that, and with trying to keep how the device works quiet. That's why we're not necessarily looking at international buyers at the moment, guys. And yeah, once again, so one of the questions is whether or not you want to have proof of functionality to see it for yourself. You might have to sign an additional NDA if you want to see it for yourself. You might also have to fly out to the location where we have the device, the demo model of the device, if you want to see it for yourself. But that would be something that we could work out for interested parties. I'm not going to be revealing personal information about the company, so please don't ask me about information about that. But in the future, like, you'll be able to look all that stuff up. So let's see. And once again, nothing. We won't be signing any contracts until everything is ready to go related to all of that, and that people can look up anything related to the entity and myself and what have you. So I've already pointed out whether, I mean, the guys, like, it's going to be really hard, guys. We keep asking the same questions over and over again. Does it need electricity? It's an Overunity device. So the whole point is that it produces excess electricity, excess power. But yes, to get it started, you have to plug it in, and then you can unplug it, and it will produce energy persistently. Whew. I would like to see Vertasium vet it as well. So if anybody knows Vertasium or any of these other YouTubers and they want to call our bluff, aethertechllc@gmail.com. Okay. When will I have one powering my own home? That's a good question. I may use the demo model to power my own home. Haven't decided yet. Can you come check it out if you sign an NDA? Some people might set up we have the challenge just out there, but presumably there'll be a lot of people who want to go see it for themselves. So probably have to vet some of that as well. I will say that I've seen one model of the device and have been told how it works. Like I said, I've signed an NDA, and I am convinced that it will work just based on that information and what I've researched about these devices. Yeah, Adam Savage, I don't care. Mick West will be one of the only people not allowed to debunk it. Mick West is a piece of crap, and I think he's a terrible human being. And he doesn't really use logic. Plus, he's not an expert on anything relevant anyway. So we're looking for real people, like electrical engineers, not random unemployed video game makers that can't pass a physics test. Yeah, this is the right email address, I believe, aethertechllc@gmail.com. So there it is on the bottom of the screen. Australia is going to be excluded for now. Once again, North America only. I don't know. What do you mean no proof? Like I said, 30 devices have already been sold, over 30. One of them has been out there for over 3 years. Do with that information what you will. That is factual information. So there you go. A lot of people, they ask me questions like with the MH370 investigation. People ask some of the dumbest questions, and I don't mean to be rude, but like when people are like, why is there a drone filming this plane? Well, why do you think there's a drone filming the airliner? Why do you think there's a video of a satellite looking down at the airliner? There's like literally only one possible option. It's an operation. There's not drones just flying around randomly catching rogue airliners, right? Like, so some people ask questions too, where it's just like, there's only one answer. Just use your own critical thinking to come to the conclusion in some of these cases. I don't know exactly how much the device weighs, but it's light enough that you can send it in FedEx pretty easily. So if I had to guess, 20 or 30 pounds, I don't know, kind of similar to a generator. It's going to depend on how the size of it in general. For some people, it might take 20 years to get an investment on 50K if they were producing one for their whole house. For other people, it might be less. It might be like 5 years. That's not for us to figure out, although we would help with, if you get selected or what have you, we can work through that as part of the digging through, the agreement and all that stuff. But yeah, of course, it's going to depend on your power costs and everything like that. And that's not going to be the only value point for people that are out there in terms of buying them. I think in terms of, and this is a good question, like how quickly would you think it would get to the point where it's affordable for the average household? 5 or 10 years does seem like it could be reasonable. Yeah. I mean, I think if it takes off and it is successful, I think in 5 or 10 years, we could get it down to a point. Like the first step would be doing this. The next step would be trying to get investors to scale up and start to be able to produce them more mass production, which economies of scale generally bring down the costs, as well as being able to produce the devices more efficiently. And then those things, I think, can reduce the cost significantly, honestly. Don't hold me to this, but it wouldn't surprise me if the costs go down by as much as like 50%. And then, once you start to think about those kind of numbers, it does become a lot more. And then there's obviously ways where it can be used. Like you could imagine like an apartment complex using devices, and now you're spreading the cost over a large number of occupants. So I think that there's a lot of ways where it can become economical for people. That's my true opinion. And once again, what I've been giving you is just estimated prices for average households. Depending on how many kilowatt hours you need, then we can work out how the size of the device and how much the exact price point that we would be charging for it. So it can go much higher than what I said. I said the median, let's say, is potentially somewhere near $50,000. If you're looking for something that can power something much more than the average household, then that's going to be much more. If you need something that produces less energy, then it can be potentially much less than that as well. People have asked why go this route, because I believe this is the only route to get the truth out there to the world. If you are somebody who is looking for the open source route, then you can watch the beginning of this stream, and I link to somebody that is alleging that they're going open source with their devices and their schematics, and then I wish you the best of luck. Now, if you've been listening to all the answers to the questions here, then you should have some idea of why I think that this is the only route to make it happen. Electric cars have been possible for maybe 50 or 60 years. We've had batteries for over 100 years or hundreds of years, and yet nobody made an electric car until Elon Musk rolled around with Tesla. So it's not as simple as simply having the technology be available. It's about commercializing it and making it profitable as well as economical to the consumers. Okay, I've already answered a lot of questions. Yes, we are afraid of people reverse engineering it, and that's part of the reason why we're vetting people, and that's also part of the reason why anybody who buys it would have to sign an NDA related to that, to not disclose exactly how the technology works. That is true, yes. At the end of the day, I think that the entity and myself both are aware of those concerns, and we do find it to be a very reasonable concern that probably will end up happening. But we're doing our best to avoid that. That's part of the reason why we're going to be selective in the process of vetting people for the alpha rollout phase. Guys, once again, I've already issued the challenge, so if anybody wants to take a look at it, then the only agreement is after they've been proven that it works and they've signed the NDA that they won't reveal exactly how it works, then they would have to make a YouTube video or a public statement saying that it works. Yep, there's no reason to believe that the device is unsafe. If it's not a nuclear reactor, it's not going to turn you into a mutant or anything like that. Let's see. You might need an electrician for installation, depending on what you're trying to do related to it. It depends. I don't know the exact answers to that. Good question. I think I've talked about the costs. And so the range of cost, the median is 50,000, but it can be much higher or much lower depending on what your output you're trying to achieve is. So I wouldn't want anybody, and part of the reason why we're vetting people is make sure that people are getting exactly what they want, though, in terms of the power output. So it can be scaled. I don't believe it'll work underwater. No, I don't know. I mean, these are silly questions, guys, like asking about it working underwater, burning up, or tampering with it. All of these things are going to void the warranty on it. So once again, if your thought process is you're going to figure out a way to break the device, then please do not inquire. Not interested in that. Yeah, at some point we will have the entity will reveal themselves. It'll probably be when we do the video showing the device working without actually revealing exactly how the device works. That's probably when that part will happen. But I don't want to. I'm already opening myself up to a lot of scrutiny at this point, so I don't want to open them up to the scrutiny until absolutely necessary. If somebody's interested in reverse engineering it privately, not on their YouTube channel, then that's one of the things that you can tell us when you are inquiring. Keep in mind that might exclude you from the list, but we might be able to work out a way where we allow that, maybe through an extra cost or something. I'm not 100% sure. Good question. Well, I think that the question about how will you prove that it works is the reality is, as we've seen from the MH370 investigation, there's no level of proof that some people will take. There's literally none. So it wouldn't matter. Even if we showed the device, people will still say it doesn't work. That's just how human nature is. So the way to prove that it works is have people buy it and see that it works for themselves. Like I said, already 30 units have already been sold. There are already 30 happy customers already out there. So it will work. Whether or not you believe it works or not is pretty irrelevant, honestly. And this is the same reason why I don't deal with debunkers in general, is that some people are going to live a lie for their whole life and nothing will ever convince them. We're going to do our best to take a video showing the actual the numbers in terms of the energy generation and confirm to show to people that it actually is producing Overunity. That's how we'll do it. People will say that we cheated or that we rigged it or whatever. Well, you know what? People can say whatever they want. Devices will work. How long does it have to be plugged in for it to start working? Not very long. Probably just a few minutes at most. But that's something that we can work out later on. So, yeah. Just basically needs to get running, and once it's running, then you can unplug it, and then boom, boom. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it can power your house depending on how much wattage or how much kilowatts you need to get out. I did talk to let's say the entity that can produce the device for quite a while today about some of the stuff, and absolutely it can. Mm-hmm. Can you vape marriage of hooches with it? I don't think so. I've already answered about it, whether it be importable. I've already answered the weight. Can it open a wormhole? It cannot open a wormhole. Do you out this device into the wall? I don't know what that means, but it can produce. We can set it up so that it can produce AC power, and it can have a power plug set up to it if that's how you want to set it up. Yep. And thank you for the kind words. I imagine there's going to be a lot of criticism and a lot of people questioning the validity of this information, which is why I think it's important to be as transparent as possible about it and to give you guys all the information heads up as possible. Let's see. Will this void my homeowner's policy? I don't know, man. That's up to you to figure out, my dude. We're not experts on your homeowners policies, but if you want consulting services on that, we can probably work with that. There is no. I mean, this is a good question. Do we use one of these devices for the manufacturing? No, not right now, but theoretically, I suppose you could. My sun system, 1,000 watt. So 1,000 watts is 1 kilowatt. So the average household uses 25 kilowatts per day. Has lights suck up a good amount of my bill. I don't know what that means. Let's see. Okay, let's see what we got here. 300,000 on TikTok, maybe. So if you are interested as well in reviewing it, you can also send an inquiry to the email that I provided. We will look over those. We may consider having people sign NDAs to claim that it does work, etc., for some advertisements. But the reality is that, we're not looking for people to try to expose how it works. So we may be selective on that as well. Okay, we're going to do a few more questions. We'll go for another like 15 minutes or so, and then I think we'll shut it down for today. And I'm gonna try to get the statement out there. Maybe it'll be tomorrow. We'll see. Yeah, and I'm sorry that for a lot of people this may not be economical for them. I totally understand that. And for those people, I say wait, and if you still believe in free energy, then you should want it to be successful, because I think this is the only way that free energy will ever get to the people in general. So somebody says, might want to look into which power companies won't allow you. Yeah, I don't know. We'll probably have to talk about that privately when people inquire. I don't know the whole situation about power companies letting you or not letting you. There may be restrictions. Any of them that let you do solar panels presumably will let you hook it up. Thanks, Flint Fancy. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think that even if people, even if it's cost prohibitive for some people, I think everybody should still be on board, because I mean, don't we all want to change the power structure, or literal power structure and energy structure in the world, away from fossil fuels and all this obsolete bullshit? I just posted a video earlier today of Elon Musk sending a rocket into space, and this thing has got like 5,000 pounds of, or maybe 5,000 tons, I don't know, of fuel in it. Just a complete waste of energy, just ridiculous. And this is a way to backdoor into proving the MH370 videos are real. I think this is a backdoor way into proving that free energy, or that the ether, is real. And that's part of the reason why I love it. Now, the other side of it is that this is the business I want to be in. Like, I want to be in the business of changing the world. And I think this technology will change the world. I am a businessman who understands that there's no such thing as a free lunch, and that you don't change the world overnight. It's a slow process, but the quicker we get that ball rolling, the quicker it will happen. It does not emit light, but Heather Birdie asking those fun questions. We could probably set up some lights to it if you want to like glow it out or whatever, like a computer or whatever has some glow lights on it. Probably can work that out. That is probably something we could actually work out. Inject the ether straight into my veins. It's for purchasing only right now. I should have to check into that, but yes, I believe you will own the device. It wouldn't be for leasing. You wouldn't have to give the device back to us. Right now, I think we're only looking at purchasing, although I'm going to add that to my list to follow up with as well. So don't hold me to that answer, but my understanding is that it's only for purchasing at the moment. I mean, it's energy. You can use anything. If you can run a computer on it, I could see you could probably mine Bitcoin off of it. Yes, I have seen the device working, but I have not seen it in person yet. So that's why mainly I'm waiting before any contracts are signed. I'm still going to look at inquiries, but before any contracts are signed, I want to actually not just see it, but I want to see it in person and be charging my phone off of it, making videos and confirming, looking at the power readings myself to be absolutely 1000% sure. Because I'm not interested in scamming people or taking people's monies. So for the device to be able to power the house, the size of it could be as large as 3 feet by 3 feet, but it's not going to like go to the roof. It's, device. There, gave you some idea of what the size of it is. How long does it take to make the device after the down payment has been put in? Or not the down payment, but the deposit? Probably upwards of 3 months. Could be less though. So by the time of you putting your order in and putting down your deposit, you potentially would have your device in under 12 weeks. It could be even less than that. The reason why I'm saying 12 weeks is because it's going to depend on how many we're able to do at once. Most likely we will, we'll take the first few people and then we'll set a time frame, and then we won't take anybody's deposits until we're ready to start the manufacturing process. But that's a good question. Good question on that. And there is moving parts. Yes, there are moving parts. Part of the device, part of it is the labor associated to tuning and setting the device up so that it has maximum efficiency as well. It's not just not just the raw materials, but there's actually labor costs that go into setting the device up to making it work correctly. 30 of these have already been sold, so I've said that like multiple times. And the demo model is almost finished at the moment as well. And that's when I'll be going to film it in person and film the device working so that people can see that the device does exist and does work. Somehow without showing exactly how it works, that's the tricky part. So bear with me on that, thinking about how we're going to be able to do that. And theoretically, I mean, you can set it up to a power outlet. So I suppose we can set it up for USB, but that's really more of a question of your configuration on your outlet. I think that somebody would get a device over like this over solar panels. Solar panels are actually expensive as well, guys. I don't know if you guys know that, but I think they're upwards of $10,000, $5,000 to $10,000. So, and my guess is that this device can produce more energy than a solar panel can. So that is, I would say that they are a competitor with respect to this type of device. Solar panels are for sure. Yeah, solar panels aren't cheap and they're not cheap to install, and then you have to replace them every so often as well. So to me, I think this is a much better opportunity than stuff like solar panels, but that's just my opinion. Let's see. Am I fancied by being their target? If you mean like the government, well, I don't know. At this point, I've got so much heat on me. It's like, what's a little bit more? You know, I'm already revealing the biggest conspiracy in the history of the world and that we've secretly got teleportation technology. Might as well reveal free energy to the world as well. Whatever, man. Hopefully, we don't have our stuff seized. I'm hoping that does not happen. So this was something I did look into in terms of like building codes and electrical codes. So I did ask about that. There should, for a device like this that doesn't fall into those categories, it's kind of in the gray area because of the type of device, because people don't think the device is possible. This is paraphrasing, so don't hold me to this exact quote, but because the market generally doesn't think this device is possible, then it doesn't generally violate any types of codes. So, but those are questions that you will probably have to talk to your insurance company about in general. So, but EtherTech will not be liable for whether or not your insurance company covers any problems that you have with your house or whatever. We're only covering this device. So if you have issues with homeowners associations or local laws or whatever, please look into those. We will probably look into what those are if you are selected to make sure that those aren't going to be a problem. Yeah. But those are things that we're thinking about for sure as well. Does it produce heat? I think I asked. I can't remember. I don't believe it produces significant excess heat. No, I don't think so. No. So I will double check on that. So I've got a list of questions for follow up. Like, does it interfere with a pacemaker? Is it EMP proof? How noisy? Is it 3-phase or single phase? Is it only available for purchasing or leasing? Does it produce excess heat? I think the answer, I can't, for some reason, I can't remember off the top of my head. I think the answer was no for it not producing excess heat, though. Yeah, I think that a good way to compare this would be that it would be a replacement to a portable generator, but you could also set it up. And there's not just like, it's not just one size. It can actually be scaled up. I think I'm safe saying this, that yes, I have seen that there are different sizes available. So you can make ones that produce significantly more power and others that don't produce as much power. So it is all quite variable with respect to that. Yes, the energy is 100% clean. There's no gas, diesel, coal, anything like that with respect to this power. It is electromechanical in nature. The device is pretty wild, huh? If you once again for the last time, I'm not going to repeat this again on this particular thing, but why get this over solar panels? Well, for one, I would say that solar panels only work when there's sun out. This device will work all the time. This device is going to not have as waste products. So solar panels, you have to throw them away. They're toxic when you throw them away. There is environmental costs related to solar panels. So there are some benefits over solar panels, but if you want to get solar panels, go nuts. I say it's a competitor to those types of things as well. Size of a car engine, it's probably smaller than a car engine. I mean, what I saw was definitely smaller than a car engine. Not as complicated either. It's not as tubes everywhere or whatever. Yeah. Okay, let's see what else. Can the output be affected by how much you put into it? Not really sure how to answer that question, because if you mean like, if you hook up more stuff to it, will it produce more output? I'm not really sure. That's probably something that we'll answer for sure when I test it in person. Let's see, what else we got? Yeah, some people, that if you're rich or whatever, you might just buy it just to flex on people. I don't know. That's what rich people do, right? That's what rich elite people do. I'm not one of those people, but those are probably the people that we're looking looking at ideally. I mean, that's great. I want to have a rich person that has a lot to lose if they would break the NDA, and that they want to just flex on people with it. Seems like target market. Seems like the target market, chat. Yeah, the materials are pretty expensive. I mean, it just is what it is. I guess that's part of the downside of Overunity devices. The materials are quite expensive, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm not going to say exactly how much I spent, but it was decent size just to build the demo model. Decently expensive. Yeah, so I just thought it was a good investment to be able to prove that Overunity device could work and potentially have a business on it in the future. So, it's not dangerous to stand near it while it's operating, but I mean, I don't know. I don't think you, if I were to recommend it, I would say you put it somewhere where you're going to leave it be and not mess with it, like your basement or something like that. But no, it's not dangerous to stand next to when you're operating. In fact, I'm planning on standing next to it when I see it in person. So hopefully we can at least cover that worry. We'll see. Let's see what else we got. Do you already have a working prototype? Moneypenny says. So the prototype, first of all, already 30 have already been sold, but we've already planned a demo model, and we've been planning this for several weeks, maybe even months at this point. And that model, I'm calling it a demo, although you could argue it's a prototype. That demo model should be complete relatively soon, in the next few weeks. And then that's when I'm planning on going out there and seeing it for myself with the demo model and taking video of it. And that would be the model that we would use for people that want to be able to see proof before they were to buy one. We would have them fly out and they could see it, sign an NDA, and then buy a device themselves. So pretty exciting, man. Pretty exciting. I know I'm excited about this. I hope that it works. Unfortunately, I can't speak more about the exact way that it works other than what I was told already that I could tell you guys, which is that it's electromechanical and that there are moving parts in this configuration. The rest of it, I'm gonna use an abundance of caution so that I don't break my own NDA related to it. Now, so once again, I'm just going to say that you are absolutely wrong. Open sourcing will not work. And if you disagree, then somebody literally is open sourcing their own model, and then you can go ahead and prove me wrong. In fact, I encourage you, if you believe that open sourcing is the answer, somebody's literally posting their schematics, you go ahead and you go make a free energy device with somebody else's schematics. If you think it's so easy, if you think that's the way forward, go ahead. And once you realize it's going to cost you $50,000 or so just to make one demo of somebody's open source schematic, you'll realize right away that open sourcing was never the answer. So that's just how it is. That's just how it is. This is not a grift. Generally, when you buy products for money, that's called the market. It's called the free market, purchasing goods and services for money. It's kind of how the whole world works all the time. So no, this is not a grift. Nobody's asking you for money and making you believe in magical fairies. Literally are allowing the potential to see it work firsthand before you even buy in on it. So nobody's asking you for investments here as well. It's literally an exchange of goods and services for money. Yep. Yeah. So shouldn't you sell them to known, trustworthy people instead of random people who we might think are affiliated with you? Yeah. I mean, the whole point is we're vetting. This is why we're vetting the thing. This is why I'm making the announcement, is that we're not just going to sell them to random people. Although, of course, the people will be potentially random. I don't know everybody in the world. But I would like for there to be people that are known that buy the devices that then people could vouch for them theoretically. But at the same time, there's a benefit of what's the word for it? Subtlety as well for people that don't want to blab about it as well. I mean, so probably going to be a cross section of people that are out there. Because end of the day, I don't really care. As long as the device works, I don't care how many people know about it. You know, I'm doing you guys a favor in general by telling you guys that there's, advanced teleportation tech and that Overunity is possible that's out there. I'm giving information away for free. I'm giving my time away for free related to this. Whether or not you take it or leave it, I mean, that's up to you, man. That's up to you. I hope it's successful as well, but I'm keeping an even keel about. Sorry, I should have left that up a little bit longer. I'm not trying to get too excited over it in general. One of the things I learned when I was in high school soccer was that you want to keep your emotions level. That's the way to be successful. Keep your emotions level. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. I'm going to remain very skeptical, even though I'm like really, really strongly believe that it's all going to work out. But I'm going to keep that level of skepticism out there as well. It is not based on the thunderstorm generator. I will say that it is not the thunderstorm generator, and the entity is not Malcolm Bendel. I will say that much as well. I've already pointed out how the size, it is the size essentially of a generator. The weight, I don't know the exact weight, but I do think it's probably between 20 and 30 pounds would be my guess. So not super heavy. Yeah, turning it on is as simple as plugging it in and then unplugging it after a short period of time. I did ask about turning it off, although, I mean, presumably you just leave it on, but I believe there is a way to turn it off as well. So generally the way Overunity devices work is they do take some energy, but what happens is the more energy they get out, they pump it back into the system. So if you wanted to turn it off, the way you would turn it off is you would get it to stop pumping energy back into the system, and then eventually it would stop. So it's as simple as like you can put in a on-off switch. Yeah, I've seen it, but I want to see it in person. I think there's a difference between seeing it remotely and being told how it works and actually seeing it in person. So that's the reason why I want to go see it in person. But like, yes, I've literally seen it. And the moment I saw it, I went, oh shit, that's how it works. Okay. Like that's as far as I can go, guys, is that when I saw it, I went, oh shit. Okay. I got you. I see it. That's how it played out in my head, guys. Just a heads up. That's the reason why I'm, very confident, very confident. And I already believed in the entity as well. Like I already trusted and believed in that they could do it and that the idea was sound. And then when I saw it and I had signed the NDA and saw it and then it was also explained, I was like, oh shit, okay. Okay. Okay, I'm going to scroll down. So if I missed questions, go ahead and re-ask them. We'll go for a couple more minutes. Is there a runaway scenario where it'll blow up? No, it's not going to blow up. And I can say it's definitely not going to explode. That's not a thing it's going to do. It's got no explosive components related to it. Although I guess maybe a smart question. Yeah, so this is the difference. So if you buy a computer, you can take it apart. You're right, but this device will have an NDA associated to it. Your computers don't make you sign NDAs, but then you can see that there's a lot of people that will reproduce those computers. So in this particular case, there's intellectual property associated to it, and that's why we will be selecting people that will not be blabbing about how it works. That's just the truth. Take it or leave it. End of the day, the information will get out to the public at some point in the future, but I want to have at least first mover advantage, if you want to call it that, in business, where, we can get it out there, where we as our business can develop a brand related to it, develop trust with clients that it works. Because what will happen is people will start trying to reproduce it and trying to scam, and then their devices won't work. And then they'll say that our devices don't work, because there is potentially specific configurations to get it to work correctly. So that's where there's this other element of intellectual property associated to it. So it's not just to prevent you from reverse engineering it. It's to prevent people from messing it up and then claiming that it doesn't work. And that's very important as well, as we need to keep the fidelity of the device intact. And that requires there to be a critical mass of people that have seen the device and using the device successfully, so that when one person comes out and says, oh no, it doesn't work, there's like 50 people that are like, oh yes, it does, you're lying, you messed it up. The same way where, like, you guys know Tesla auto driving cars, People say, well, the auto driving cars doesn't work. The auto driving car killed somebody, but you find out every single time that it was somebody like using the auto driving wrong, or they look into it and they find out that the person actually accelerated the car and they pressed on the gas. Like that is going to happen with this as well. People are going to mess with it and claim that it doesn't work. So we need to make sure there's enough people out there, especially in the alpha phase, that they can't make that claim. I mean, will lightning damage it? I mean, again, fire, lightning, and pouring water on it are all highly avoided. So yes, environmental damage can destroy essentially anything and could destroy this. I would recommend not having it outside. From what I've seen, I recommend having it indoors somewhere where it is protected away from the elements. Let's say that. Okay, once again, the email. Let's do the rundown one more time. So the business name is EtherTech. EtherTech, AETHERTECH. Some of the paperwork may still be pending. So for people that want to go and try to prove that the business doesn't exist yet, you're going to need to wait. Like I've said, no contracts will be signed until everything has been processed, but I am willing to tell you guys the name of the company ahead of time anyway, which is EtherTech. The email for soliciting inquiries is ethertechllc@gmail.com, AETHERTECHLLC@gmail.com. The questions that we require, first of all, if you are wanting to challenge the device and you have a large platform, then I would request that you tell us what your platform is so that we can look into it to see if we're interested, and that what your knowledge base is around it. You would have to be willing to probably put up your own money to fly out to the location where the device is to test it. So if you are interested in that, put in your subject challenge request or, something like that. Otherwise, the questions you need to ask, I will post these on my Twitter either later tonight or tomorrow morning, depending on how tired I am after this. You need to say your name, your age, your occupation, your business, how much power you want the device to generate, what your budget is, what region of North America you're in. You don't have to say exactly where you live. You can if you want, but what region you're in, your phone number, whether or not you're willing to put down up to 40% refundable deposit. If you're requesting proof of the functionality, meaning you would want to actually go see a demo device before you commit. And then you need to also tell us the intentions. Is it for business or residential? Are you planning on using the device on or off the grid? Are you planning to share the device with any other people, communities, etc.? Is it for research, educational, or potentially reverse engineering purposes? And do you have any conflicts of interest with any other businesses or entities? Once again, we reserve the right to accept or decline any certain contracts we want for any reason that we want that's out there. It is an electromechanical device that does have moving parts. There has been no maintenance issues so far in over 30 devices. The longest device has been out there for almost 3 years. We potentially will have a warranty. We haven't figured out the exact duration of that warranty. There will be no tinkering with the device, or the warranty is voided. You would be required to sign an NDA that you would not disclose how the device works, post any pictures about the exact way that the device works or anything related to that. And you will also be required to sign a contract that essentially says that if the device is misused in any way, that we are not liable and your warranty is voided. Okay. Whew. Right now, we're not interested in necessarily selling to power companies and things like that. Just private individuals. Will I be getting a device for myself? Maybe. I'm not going to go into details of my own situation and stuff like that, but I definitely at some point in the future would like to have my own. And I may just use the demo model as my own in the future as well. We'll see. Will you guys be hiring outside the entity? I don't know what that means. I think the answer is no. You were here. Oh, yeah, I better hit these donations, guys. So sorry if I missed your donation earlier. Wow. Okay. I first of all, I apologize for not getting these donations earlier. We're an hour and 30 minutes in. Hopefully you're still watching. I'm going to get those. So thank you guys for these donations. Daza MCD says, have been watching for a month and now completely enthralled. Don't stop what you're doing, brother. Cheers from Canberra, Australia. Thank you very much, man. We're just out here exposing forbidden technology to people, just doing it like it's, our business. Irving Babbitt, wow, $50 donation. Oh my God. Oh, Irving, bro, I've seen your Twitter posts as well, and I appreciate it. I do see a lot of your Twitter posts where you tag me. I can tell because I see your picture, and it looks just like your picture. So thank you very much. That's a huge donation. Also, whenever I get a big donation like this, I like to tell people, like, you don't need to donate to me if you want a question answered. I try to just interact with anybody and everybody that's out there. And if you need your money, please keep your money for yourself. I appreciate it, though. Thank you very much, Irving. You're the man. Chickoid, can we still invest if we don't get a device? Right now, there's going to be no investment at this point. Stay tuned for more stuff in the future, but no guarantees on the investment thing for now. I would like to find a way, if this all does magically work out, which, you know, I'm trying to keep it even keel, that I could help to pay back MH370X and all the people that have helped get us to this point. Definitely would like to, you know, give back to the community in that way. Kuma asked, is the company on the stock market? No. So how the stock market works is you have to be a publicly traded company for that. Any private companies are not going to be publicly traded and therefore not on the stock market. So generally for private companies, they only solicit like angel investors and other private investors, which is like when people come talk to you and they want to invest in your company for an agreed upon percentage of your ownership of your company. And then when people do IPOs, initial public offerings, that's when they become publicly traded, like Reddit just did a few months ago, where they became publicly traded. That's how that works. Now, that would not happen anytime in the near future. That would be many years down the road, most likely. It's just a heads up. Sockhead67, 99 cents. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. No question, but thank you. And there's a follow-up, $2. Thank you. Why not wait to try it firsthand before the announcement? Because I've already know how it works and I know that it works. So no reason to wait any longer. But once again, I'm trying to get the information out there as fast as possible. It's exciting for me as well. And, you know, at the end of the day, there's not going to be any contract signed until I'm 1000% sure. And that I've actually been able to show the devices out there. But I do want to start vetting. The vetting process is going to take a while. So I feel like it lines up like 4 to 6 weeks between now and me seeing the device in person and posting videos online probably will coincide with soliciting the business. And I've already know that people have been buying the devices. So, you know, if people are super interested and they don't want to wait or whatever, then I can put them directly in touch with the entity and then, you know, we can do that. But I think that we'll probably end up holding it until all the paperwork has been set up and ready to go. I want to do everything above board. I don't want to take any chances on there being any technicalities related to this. So thank you for those donations. Much appreciated. So here's a good question. Is there a generator equivalent in the range of 5 to 10,000? What I will say is that 10,000 is probably the low side. And yes, there can be a device purchased at that level, but it's going to be significantly less output than one that's at the 50,000 level. You're not going to be able to power a house off of a device that size. But if your intention is to have a backup generator that can, like, you know, power a couple things that are not your refrigerator and your air conditioner and your dryer, you know, just have some lights on and stuff like that, I think that that could be the thing. Now, my biggest concern with things on the lower end is I don't want people to be disappointed for it to not have, like, I don't want somebody to buy a lower end model and then try to run their whole house off of it and then claim that they were scammed or something like that. That's the true situation related to that. But again, that's why it's very important that you guys tell us exactly how much power you want to be able to generate related to it. I don't know what electro boom is. I have no idea what that is. I'm not really interested in flashy stuff or the media or any of that stuff in general. Since I already know the devices work, it's whatever, you know. I'm also not interested in selling it to China either. So, you know, we're just going to sell it to real people and then have real people have free or Overunity. Watch out for Matt Rife. He loves stealing and scamming other inventors. Oh, wow. That's dark. I don't know. I think Matt's cool, but it doesn't matter. We've, you know, anybody we deal with, we're going to have them sign an NDA. So we'll see. You only have to initially plug the device in. Okay, I'm going to stop answering questions I've already answered like 5 times. Can you measure with a Gauss meter, make sure it has no excess magnetic fields coming off of it? I mean, I don't really know. I'm sure you can, probably. You know, I think things do produce magnetic fields that are out there, not necessarily harmful for people. I mean, people have magnets everywhere. But sure, if that's something you're concerned about, then please let us know your concerns. The email, once again, ethertechllc@gmail.com, AETHER. Okay. These are fair questions. Do you want us to dox yourself to a private company? Yeah, well, that's kind of when you purchase things. Usually, you tell them who you are, but you don't have to. If giving your private information is a deal breaker, then yes, please don't send it. Anybody that doesn't send their private information will be initially ignored. So we're not interested in doing business with anons. So that won't be happening, 100% guaranteed. So if you're anonymous and you're trying to purchase it, you've already ruled yourself out. So simple as that. That's a deal breaker. Sorry. Don't really care. I've already mentioned there is no maintenance related to the device. None of the devices to date have ever had any maintenance issues, but there would be a warranty that would cover any maintenance issues as well. Yeah, by the way, the government is absolutely gatekeeping this. But once again, I don't care what your opinion is on how I'm doing it. I'm going to do it however the hell I want. And if you want to do it differently, you're welcome to do it yourself. I'm completely unapologetic about how I'm getting this out to the world. If you think you deserve something for free, if you think that you should work for free, please go do so. If you want to work for free for people, go nuts, man. I'm not. So, and I'm certainly not going to make anyone give their intellectual property away for free. I think that that's an extremely selfish mindset that's out there. End of the day, I'm trying to get Overunity out there to the world, and this is the only way that I've determined that it will happen. So, any other questions we have here? Once again, I've mentioned that we're not going to show the exact workings of the device publicly, but we will show that the device does produce Overunity. We can do that with electrical readers. I don't know what the devices are called. I'm not an electrician, but I've been assured that we can set the readers up in such a way where people can see that the device is producing Overunity. And so that potentially will be in 4 to 6 weeks, maybe, let's just say. Don't hold me to that, but that's the idea. Let's see. I've already mentioned it won't be publicly traded. So I'm not going to respond ever again to any more questions like this. Once again, I don't care what your opinion is on how I'm doing it. I don't care. If you think it's going to be open source, keep your opinion to yourself. Do it however you want to do it. I'm doing it however I want to do it, and I'm the one taking the danger. So when people concern troll, like when people say stuff like you see here about they're going to kill you, whatever, that's called concern trolling. What you really are saying is that you're upset that I'm not giving information to you for free, and that I'm not giving away how it works for free. And I just frankly do not care. I don't care, man. So I want everybody out there that thinks that they should deserve how to know how a very specific device works for free to know that that is never going to happen in this world. You're not going to be able to bully me into it. You're not going to be able to concern troll me into it. And if you're not interested, then you can go take your chances with the other guy that I showed in the beginning of this stream that's open sourcing it, and you can go figure out if that works. I wish you the best of luck. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. I think that's probably about it. Let's see. The noise question I do have on my list. So one more time, I'll go over the noise questions, and then we're going to close it down, I think, here. We're going to find out about EMPs and interfering with pacemakers. I do think interfering with pacemakers is a good question. We're going to find out about the decibels and the noise, although I believe from what I saw that it's very quiet, like very quiet. But since it does have moving parts, there probably is some noise related to it. I'm going to find out if it's 3-phase or single phase, even though I don't even know what that means. I believe it's going to only be available for purchase, but I am going to find out if we're going to be leasing the technology out there. And then I'm going to ask whether or not it produces excess heat, although I don't think that it does. So, why Gmail and not Proton Mail? Because I'm not too concerned about the government seeing the information. I think the government will already know. And I'm not even worried about the Gmail account being hacked either, to be honest with you. Like granted, there is people's private information in there, so I don't want it to get hacked, and I don't think anybody should please try not to hack it, but Not really worried about encryption for this kind of stuff. We're trying to do this all above board, guys. This is not going to be a sketchy business. So, yeah. Okay. I mean, stuff for like what percentage are you getting for each sale, guys? Like, these aren't appropriate questions for a business in general. So, if you're interested in the product, buy the product. If you're not interested in the product, don't buy the product. I'm not going to reveal personal information about, distributions of what percentage money I get and stuff like that that's out there. And what you'll be able to see is anything like any other public company, you'll be able to see whatever public documents that are out there about the inner workings of it. This is no different than that. I don't plan on revealing inside information about the business. I've already addressed a lot of questions about the demo model. I'm just trying to see if there's any other last questions that we don't have. Yeah, your computer already produces an EM field, and so does Wi-Fi. That's kind of what I figured the answer is going to be on the EM field situation. I think that everything produces these. Anything that's electrical automatically produces those fields, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. Oh, Electroboom's a YouTuber. Once again, I've issued the challenge. I'll probably try to edit the challenge into my post. I'm going to take some of the clips from this and try to get a clip out there that tells people how to sign up, and then also has the challenge for anyone who doesn't believe, who wants to challenge it, and then they would have to come see it. And once they get proven that, oh, nice. So that's probably a good one. If Electroboom is big and they have a lot of followers, let me just check real quick. I want somebody who's super cocky that thinks that Overunity is not possible. Yeah, okay, 6.7 million. I would love to be able to prove to. Oh, Electroboom. This is the guy. Electroboom is this idiot who didn't know how power worked. This is this moron that didn't know how power worked, guys. This is funny. Yeah, if you guys can get me this guy would be the best. So this is the one that Vertasium does his power video, and this is the guy that was saying that power doesn't work that way. He tried to debunk it, and he didn't even know how power worked. That power didn't flow through wires. So that does give me a little pause, because if somebody is this ignorant about electricity, then they definitely shouldn't be somebody who's debunking other people. This is the guy that you can see. There's the Vertasium thing as well, right? This is the one right here, 1.9 million. This is the one where he says the power doesn't work this way, and he was 100% wrong. 100% wrong. Too funny. Yeah, if you guys have an insight of that guy would be a good person to prove that it works. And just, I would love for him to have to admit to his 6.7 million followers that Overunity is possible and that EtherTech works. That'd be a good way to get the information out there. Hey, what's up, Billy? So if any of you guys know that guy or any of the other ones, let me know. Tomorrow we'll go back to MH370 stuff. Let's see. I'm just checking if there's any last questions. Can it be wired into a standard AC breaker panel? I've been told that yes, it can, Mike Wright. Good question. So yes, theoretically you can wire it. It does distribute AC power. It can be wired into a standard breaker as well. Okay, well. Okay, so Happy Shilmore, you just got banned. I gave you a couple warnings, man, but you won't be on this channel anymore. Electroboom banned me on his subreddit when I talked about Salvatore. Oh, well, if he's on a subreddit, then if he's a Redditor, then you know he's an idiot. And it's not surprising because he tried to debunk how power works. He doesn't even know that power doesn't flow through wires. So the problem with a lot of these people, especially the Redditor people, is that they're Redditor brains, So they don't even know how science works, but they think they do because they were taught wrong. And then they're like super adamant that the fact that they were taught wrong is how it really works. I mean, I'd be happy to explain to Electroboom how the first and second laws of thermodynamics work, and how the ether works, if he really wants to see it. Like, this is a direct challenge to Electroboom. You want to come and see how Overunity works? You want to see for yourself. The only criteria is we're going to make you sign a contract that says that after we've proven to you beyond a doubt by using actual electric meters, that you have to go onto your YouTube channel, 6.7 million people, and say that Overunity is real and that EtherTech LLC has produced it, and you have to advocate for the fact that it works. There you go. That should be great, huh? Okay, I think that's going to be good. Guess which country are you fleeing to? We'll see, chat. We'll see. I've given you guys all the scientific details. The question is not having the scientific details. If you watch my streams, a lot of you guys have watched a lot of my streams and you know the scientific details. The one I would say you should watch the most is the one where I go over Tom Bearden's Meg. And we might do another one this weekend because that's only a 30-minute video. He has a 30-minute video and a 15-minute video where he talks about exactly how to achieve overunity and what overunity is with respect to negative entropy and all the concepts that I've gone over. So those are the concepts you need to know. Whether the big issue is whether or not people believe that it's actually possible and true. And as we've seen from the Vertasium videos, even just trying to explain to people that energy and power doesn't flow through wires, I had electricians and electrical engineers adamantly saying that it does, even after like just absolute proof on video that it does not. So, I mean, you know, the real end of the day, I can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So what I want to say on that front as well is that the reason why the engineers that know this stuff works, that work in the black projects don't come out is because they know that a bunch of people they won't listen anyway. And they know they won't believe anyway. And they just don't care if people don't believe or don't see. These people are making buku money behind the scenes, man, because they know a whole source of physics and science and electrical engineering that the public has no idea about. Why do they have any incentive to try to convince idiot Redditors and YouTubers on how stuff works? They have none at all. None at all. So that's the reason why they like me, because I'm doing the dirty work out here, trying to convince people that, yep, this is real. Here's how the science works. So it is what it is. Okay, guys. See you in Argentina, guys. Somebody said, so glad I saw your discussion with Ian. Yeah, I want to actually post a few more clips with Ian Carroll because that was probably one of the best discussions. You can also check out my Alex Stein interview yesterday. The Blaze has been awesome to me, guys. Pat Gray Unleashed, Glenn Beck, Alex Stein. They were all super respectful. They could have been dickheads and they were not. And I think it helps that like I broke away from this UFO community. Oh, that reminds me of one more thing I want to say is that a lot of you might be from the UFO community and they might have know that I started in that community because I was looking at some orbs and stuff like that. The UFO community is just the most dysfunctional piece of crap I've ever seen. The government doesn't even need to interfere in the UFO community. It's just straight up middle school drama nonstop. People are cutthroat, going at each other, doxing each other, calling each other scammers all the time. Like the UFO community needs no disinformation. Government doesn't have to do anything. It's so dysfunctional that they can't reveal anything. That's why in under 6 months, I had already revealed more information about UFOs than the entire UFO community has ever accomplished in the history of the UFO community combined. That's how dysfunctional the UFO community is, guys. It's a shit show out there, which is why I separated myself early on from that community and was like, you know what? We're just going to go into the science and screw these people that are all about clapping alien cheeks and whatever other crap they care about. We're just going to focus on the science about how you can make something hover and what that means for respect to stuff like free energy that's out there. So I never expected all of this. Like I was just a normal dude before this. And I realized so much about how dysfunctional some of these communities are, why some of these communities were never able to achieve disclosure, why free energy was never able to come out. It's been wild, man. Been wild. Okay, guys, let's see. Anything at the end? Yeah, everybody's laughing because the people that have been following along, they know like they know what I'm saying is true. Some of these people were like, we joined some of these UFO spaces. This is wild. These people they're nuts, man. And so there's some good people in the UFO community, but man, like the majority of them are just holy crap, dude. It's like no wonder they didn't solve anything. It's like a bunch of kids, bunch of grifters, bunch of people that don't understand the first thing about science. Like, man, it is wild, dude. I can't believe it. Like, honestly, Crypto Alchemist, who's in the chat right now, he hangs out with Jeremy Reese, and like These are like some of the only people like in this whole community that like are actually looking at science and talking to real, like all these people had to do in the UFO community is just talk to real engineers. Like we talked to Bob Grenier, Salvatore Paez, Dave Rossi, and I was already satisfied at that point. I'm like, oh God, like all these people are just talking openly. UFO community doesn't even talk to these people. They want to know more about like somebody who can like summon orbs and like people that spoke telepathically with aliens. And I'm like, how does that solve anything? It's just like, oh man. So anyway, that's why I like the long story short, that's why I like the Blaze and some of these other like more down to earth interviews that I do with people like Ian Carroll and stuff. And Ian Carroll's actually open to the idea of like non-human intelligence. He just knows the CIA is covering up some shit, which they are. They definitely are, guys. Okay. Okay, I want to show real quick this new video that we found. I mean, I'm sure this video has been out there. It's been out there for 10 years, but we did, and we'll go over this tomorrow, but just to wind down a little bit on some of the stuff so it's not so serious tonight. We did find this video this morning about, God, my thing about Elon Musk is 57,000 views already. Okay, wow. This highest quality satellite video. So was it Pantella? Wait, let me find out what his name is. Maybe she. It's kind of hard because their name is just a unicorn. Their name is just a unicorn. I want to give them their proper. I can't tell. Oh, it's got streamer mode on. I think it's Pantella from the Discord. If I'm wrong, guys, I'm sorry if I'm wrong. So this video we found is actually a higher quality version of the satellite video. And you can tell right away because in the bottom left, why can't I see the bottom left? Chat, why is it like this? Well, in the bottom left of this video, the coordinates are very easy to read, although you probably have to watch the thing in full screen. But the coordinates are like crystal clear in this version. Crystal clear. I think you guys I think can kind of see it. And there's more definition in the airplane. Like you can actually see the little stubs of the Pandela, yeah. You can see the little stubs of the engine much easier in this version. It doesn't look so like blobby in this version. The contrast isn't set as high either. And if you look at it closely, like you can actually see, like, I don't know if it looks like static, but it might be atmospheric interference from the sensors of the satellites. Like there's some, it looks like way, and the clouds are like much more, not much more, but a little bit more detailed as well in this version. So I thought that was wild that we just found a crispier version, a higher quality version than we've ever found, especially because it's like, what, 9 months, 10 months in this investigation. And all of a sudden we're finding like a cleaner version of the satellite video. Now, this does beg the question whether or not regicide version that was stereoscopic, whether or not that's the original or not. We still don't really know, but the person that found this thinks that that might have been either some kind of bug or something, like where it accidentally got converted like that on the Wayback Machine. I'm not really sure. But if you guys find more details, the fact that we now have a higher quality version of the MH370 video, satellite video, means that if we do like the color channels on it again, like maybe we can find other smaller details that we missed before because it's higher quality than the other ones. So not sure. Okay, guys, that's going to be it for tonight. I hope you guys appreciated the announcement. Feel free to spread the news. Feel free to spread the email. One more time, EtherTech is the name of the company. EtherTech LLC. That's AETHER TECH LLC at gmail.com for inquiries. All the questions, I'm going to repeat them, I guess, one more time, but I will post on my Twitter account, is your name, your age, your occupation, your business, how much power you want to generate, your budget, what region of North America you reside in, your phone number, whether or not you're willing to put down up to a 40% deposit that's refundable. Are you requesting proof of functionality? AKA, do you need to see it in person? What your intentions are for the device? Is it for business or residential? Are you planning on using the device on or off the grid? Are you planning to share the device with other people or communities? Are you planning on using it for research, education, or reverse engineering purposes? And do you have any conflicts of interest with any other businesses or entities that are out there? And we reserve the right to accept or decline any contracts that we want related to it. So those are the questions that you'll need to ask. You can either wait for my announcement or you can start sending your things right now. If you don't answer those questions, your request will most likely be ignored. And if you do want to challenge it, if you know major YouTubers or influencers or people that are experienced with electrical engineering that think that Overunity cannot be real, we do have the challenge out there, and you would have to sign the NDA. But once you see it in person and that you agree that it does in fact work, you would have to use your platform to tell the world that it does work and that EtherTech is legit. So thank you guys very much tonight. I appreciate it. MH370X, you guys are the best. Let's try to change the world. Let's try to make it happen. Let's talk soon, guys. I'll try to do a stream tomorrow. Otherwise, if not, we will stream on Saturday. Peace, everybody. Love ya. Bye.
In the fields where the skies are wide, talking about a journey through the cosmic ride. Einstein and Thorne, they set the stage for a trip through time across the space age. Wormholes connect distant points in space, traversable paths to a far-off place. No black holes pull, no crushing weight, just a cosmic tunnel to a distant gate.
Talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Bowling 777 through a wormhole flow. We're talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Bowling 777 through a wormhole flow.
Exotic matter, negative energy's the key to stabilize the wormhole for you and me. Quantum vacuum squeezed so tight, creating conditions for this wondrous flight. Static fields and lasers in the lab they play, generating forces in a new kind of way. Gravitational squeezing, Casimir's force, negative zones we need to stay the course.
Talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Boeing 777 through a wormhole flow.
Thin shell formalism plates so fine, spherical geometry we realign. Energy conditions that we must defy. For a stable wormhole, let's give it a try. Coulomb forces balancing the plate, creating the throat, open the gates, from Earth to the stars in a single bound. A shortcut through space profound. Engineers and dreamers hold the key to future worlds and what we could be. With science in hand, we forge ahead through the cosmic paths that we now tread.
We're talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Boeing 777 through a wormhole flow.
From the fields to the stars, we break the chains. Understanding the universe, we make the gains. Lil Hula Crunk shines, bringing truth to light. Through his music, we'll explore the night. With wormholes and stargates, our path is clear. Exploring the cosmos, our future's here.